Filmmaking isn't just about pointing a camera at your subject. How you position your camera completely changes how your audience feels about a scene. But with so many angles to choose from, where do you start? So today, we're breaking down the 5 essential camera angles that every new filmmaker must master. But before we get there, let's talk about the 3 major camera perspectives that influence every shot you take. 1. The objective angle, otherwise known as the invisible observer. Most movies rely on the objective angle. The camera is an invisible observer. It doesn't take sides. It simply records what's happening. A great example is Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. During the intense dinner scene at Candyland, the camera remains neutral, letting the audience observe the growing tension between Django, Dr. Schultz, and Calvin Candy without pushing them toward any character's perspective. But sometimes, you don't want your audience to feel like passive viewers. You want them to feel inside the scene. So, when you need more engagement, you switch to a subjective angle. The subjective angle makes the audience feel like they're inside the scene, experiencing the moment as if they're there. Take Saving Private Ryan, for example. The shaky handheld cinematography during the D-Day landing isn't just for style. It makes the viewer feel the chaos and fear of war, putting them in the soldier's boots. But even though this draws the audience in, they're still not literally seeing through a character's eyes. So, if you want to put your audience directly inside a character's mind, you use the point of view angle. The point of view angle is exactly what it sounds like. It lets the audience see through a character's eyes, making them experience events firsthand. Again, let's take a look at Saving Private Ryan. During the D-Day landing, the camera adopts Captain Miller's perspective as he stumbles onto the beach, bullets flying past him. The chaotic framing and muffled sound design make the audience feel the disorientation of war. But POV shots can be limiting. You don't always want your audience to feel stuck in one person's perspective. So, great filmmakers mix POV with other camera angles to create dynamic storytelling. Now that we've covered the 3 major perspectives, let's break down the 5 essential camera angles that every filmmaker should master. These angles shape how your audience feels about a character and their story. Number 1. The eye-level shot. The eye-level shot is the most neutral and balanced way to frame a subject. It's neither dramatic nor exaggerated. It's just natural. A good example is Martin Scorsese's Silence. Many of its scenes, especially conversations between Father Rodriguez and the Japanese Inquisitor, are framed at eye level, allowing the audience to observe their emotional struggles without visual bias. But while eye-level shots are great for realism, they lack intensity. So, when you want to make a character look more powerful, use a low-angle shot. A low-angle shot makes a character look dominant, powerful, or even menacing. And you can achieve this by placing the camera below the subject's eye line. Think about The Dark Knight Rises, during Batman's first fight with Bane in the sewers. As the battle unfolds, the camera is often positioned low, looking up at Bane. It makes him feel unstoppable, a towering force of destruction, completely in control of the fight. And when Bane lifts Batman over his head before breaking his back, the low angle makes Batman look small, helpless, and overpowered. The shot reinforces the brutal shift in power. Bane isn't just winning, he's dominating. But if a low angle makes a character look powerful, what happens when you flip it? So let's look at the high-angle shot. A high-angle shot does the opposite of a low angle. It makes a character look small, weak, or vulnerable. And you can achieve this by placing the camera above the subject. In The Harder They Fall, when Rufus Buck beats Sheriff Wiley Esco to the ground, the camera looks down on Esco, making him seem powerless beneath Rufus' dominance, reinforcing the shift in control. But what if you want to take it even further, to make a character feel completely powerless or lost in the world? So that's where the overhead shot comes in. The overhead shot, or bird's eye view, makes a character look insignificant, detached, or even trapped. This is achieved by placing the camera 90 degrees above the subject. In Django Unchained, during the Candyland shootout, the camera switches to an overhead view, making Django seem trapped and overwhelmed as he fights off an onslaught of enemies. The perspective emphasizes the chaos and his struggle for survival. By the end of the shootout, Django is forced to surrender, and the overhead shot reinforces his powerlessness, visually trapping him in his fate. But what if you don't just want to show distance? What if you want to make the audience feel uneasy or disoriented?
Said put the gun down.
So you turn to the Dutch angle. The Dutch angle tilts the camera, making everything feel off balance, unstable, or chaotic. One of the best examples is Inception. During the zero-gravity hallway fight scene, the Dutch angle enhances the feeling that reality is warping. But if you overuse it, it loses its impact. So filmmakers use it strategically to create unease without overwhelming the audience. Now you know the 5 key camera angles every filmmaker should master. When combined with the 3 major camera perspectives, you can control exactly how your audience experiences a scene. But knowing these angles is just the start. So now it's time to experiment. Try using these angles in your next film and see how they change your storytelling. Which of these angles is your favorite? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Breadfruit Studios, and hit the notification bell for more filmmaking tips. See you in the next video.
Thank you. Thank you so much.